Happy freaking Wednesday, everybody. It's Allie, also known as vampfaye. I thought I'd take a couple minutes this morning to address an issue that is really bothering me. I know I haven't posted a lot of videos as of yet. I'm still very new to YouTube. The editing on this may absolutely suck, if I edit it at all. But I have to get this off my chest. There's been a lot of talk going around about the video from DaddyOOne and the invisible ink prank. There's a lot of controversy as to whether this is abusive or this is just good old fun. This is abusive behavior. I grew up in an abusive household. My mom grabbed me when I was 5 years old and ran, and basically got out of the marriage with my dad with a car, him having every other week visitation until I was 18, and $100 a month child support. That was in 1974. That child support never got upped until I graduated from high school in 1986, because my mom didn't want to have to deal with it. She didn't want to have to deal with his anger. She didn't want to have to deal with his issues. She didn't want to have to deal with anything more than she absolutely had to try to make my life as easy as possible, because he was that bad. My dad was known for screaming and yelling at the top of his lungs over stupid stuff that to you or me would be like, oh, that happened today? Oh, okay. Just don't do it again. No, I got yelled at for accepting a bracelet from a guy who had a crush on me in 7th grade and got called every name in the book for it. So when I see stuff like this and see how the kids are reacting, and the kids are screaming and yelling, and the shrill voice tones of the parents and the mom, and the look what we're gonna do, this isn't fun for those kids. Those kids, it already shows that they have had bad prior experiences from their behavior. They immediately went into fight or flight mode. Not me, I didn't do it. Not me, I didn't do it either. I couldn't possibly have. Where's the ink? I mean, if you really look at how they're reacting, these kids are scared. They are legitimately, truly scared. And the point that I want to make is that abuse doesn't always come in the form of punches and slaps and cuts and bruises and things that you can visibly see. Abuse comes from verbal, mental, physical, emotional sources. I was lucky mine wasn't sexually based. My dad was great from that standpoint. He was a devout Southern Baptist. He would not have touched me in that manner. But he didn't have a problem bringing out the belt. He didn't have a problem, punching or slapping me in the face. But the worst was when he would yell, and he would yell in tones like we see in that video of how dare you, and how could you, and are you stupid, and words that in certain circumstances are just words, but when they're used in other circumstances, they're used as weapons. And my dad was a very educated man. He knew what to do to put that fear into me. And I made a point as a mother, with my daughter growing up, that I wasn't going to raise her that way. I was strict, and you can be strict without being abusive. And I don't think this family understands the difference of the two. I watched the video once. That's all I can stomach, because it took me back to a point of when I was little. It made me shake. It made me cry. And my father's been dead for 22 years. It's taken me this long to come to terms with a lot of what happened in that relationship. I have a baby half-brother who was 8 when my father passed away, and he will say that he knew his mom ran interference for him because of my dad's temper. I don't know how much interference she ran for me. I never felt like she did, but she may have, and if you did, thank you for that. I can't recall what you did for me in those days, because I was so worried about keeping myself alive. Those every other weekend visits were a nightmare. I would take books. I would take, once I started getting into music, I would take a music player with me. I would have headphones. I would try to disengage as much as possible because any engagement was potential for a bad situation. I spent most of my high school years playing the avoidance game when I visited his house. And that's what these kids are going to end up doing. These kids already are probably hiding away from their parents to try to keep the peace. They probably go to school and they're worried about if they don't do well at school that they're going to come home and get beat. It's not acceptable behavior. And for those who are saying that the kids should be taken away, I think it definitely should be looked into, because if this is happening, what else is happening in that household? Unfortunately, with how CPS works here in Ohio, they typically call first and say, we're coming. So the parents get a head start to clean or fix any issues or coach the kids. And there's a lot of that goes on. There's a lot of kids that stay in abusive situations because the parents have coached them that if they talk or they say one thing wrong, that they put the fear of God in them, the fear of death into them. I had times growing up that I thought I was going to die. And I know that seems drastic, but I did. I have one specific incident that I can go into that I will do in a story time one of these days, that we were driving down the road and I thought my dad was going to wreck the car because he was so furious with me. And I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything more than any other kid growing up would have done. And making the threats of, we're going to sell this, we're going to get rid of this, you're going to be grounded for that. Eventually those threats don't mean anything anymore to those kids because they figure they can't win no matter what they do. We need to make a point to make it known that this is unacceptable behavior. This is not pranking. A prank doesn't have a parent going, guess what we're going to do next? The mom was just getting way too into it and was getting off on it. And some people are that way, and I understand that, everybody has their little quirk or their little thing. But to purposely cause emotional harm to your child, and in that case, from their behaviors, irreparable harm to your child, is unexcusable to me. There's a difference between discipline and abuse. There's a difference between prank and abuse. This was verbal, physical, and mental abuse. And those kids are going to it's going to take a long time for them to get over it, if they ever get over it. I'm 48 years old. I still struggle with the issues that I had with my dad. It's taken me this long. It's taken a lot of therapy. It's taken a lot of time. It's taken a lot of inner reflection. It's taken raising a child of my own to see things and try to see things from his point of view. And no matter what my daughter did that was bad, and I'm going to use bad loosely because my daughter is a good kid. She wasn't the, Johnny never does any wrong. She had her moments, but I always looked at them as being teaching experiences. How can we keep this from happening again? Not shrieking to the top of my lungs and berating her with every last ounce of energy in my body. And this happens a lot more than what we realize. And by allowing this behavior, and especially allowing it on YouTube, we are condoning that behavior as a society. I know the video has been pulled. I know there's other things coming out about the family. It kind of sounds to me like we have an issue of a mom who is stuck raising somebody else's kid, and she resents it. But it also seems like she resents being a mom, period. And again, there is a difference between playing a joke and being abusive. And this family crossed the line. That's it. That's my piece. I had to say it today. If you like what I had to say, let me know down below in the comments. Subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. I've got plans for all kinds of cool stuff coming, from makeup to health issues to advice to stories to all kinds of things. So hop on board of this ride with me and we shall see where it goes. I'm looking forward to it, but I had to say my piece on this today. So hopefully everybody has a great day, and peace out.